And happy Sunday, everyone. I'm Jonathan McNamara with JMU Sound Off. We have a jammed-packed show for you on this Sunday evening. We're going to get to, right off the bat, our interview with JMU Ice Hockey, tell you a little bit about a team that I think you need to be paying more attention to. Then we're going to do our men's and women's basketball previews with Coach Spradlin and Shauna Regan, as well as Bree Robnson from JMU Women's Basketball, as both teams will hit the court for Game 1 on Monday. And then we're going to do a look back at JMU's win over Texas State, 56-20 to improve to 7-1 on the season, 5-0 in Sun Belt play. And then we're going to look forward to this Saturday's matchup against Marshall as the Dukes continue their road towards hopefully a berth in the Sun Belt Championship. But before we get to all of that, as always, we want to recognize our sponsors. First, Skyline Financial Partners. Remember that you can empower your family for lasting financial success at SkylineFinancialPartners.com. Champions Drive Bourbon. Remember, every bottle that's purchased goes to support student athletes and JMU Athletics' pursuit of championships. Find an ABC store near you that stocks Champions Drive at abc.virginia.gov. Where's Woody? Remember that for 48 hours after every Sound Off broadcast, you can get 25% off the entire Where's Woody store by entering promo code SOUNDOFF25, and that's at where'swoody.com. Purple Nation now with stores in Midlothian, the west end of Richmond, as well as Northern Virginia and in the coast. Holiday season right around the corner. Perfect place to get all your gifts. And remember, you can shop anytime online at yourpurplenation.com. Shoker Enterprises, want to give a shout out to Joe Shoker and recognize all he does for personal, civic, and institutional productivity in the Harrisonburg area. Joe is a great supporter of both Sound Off as well as JMU Athletics, and we appreciate it. The Dead Meat Society, remember that you can join the movement for grilling enthusiasts at deadmeatsociety.com. Outdoor Kitchen Creations, now is the time if you're looking to take your outdoor kitchen to the next level to start planning with the team over at there. Remember that you can learn more at backyardtrends.com. And then finally, our friends at Valley Road Vineyards. Stop by the next time you're on I-64 between Harrisonburg and Richmond. Tell them that you heard about the winery from JMU Sound Off, and you'll get 50% off your wine flight. And remember to consider Valley Road for all of your birthday parties, rehearsal dinners, weddings. The team over there can do a lot to help take your event to the next level. And you can learn more at valleyroadwines.com. And with that, we're going to get right to our interviews today because we want to spend as much time as possible with all of our guests. And our first topic today is JMU Ice Hockey. Those who watch JMU Sound Off know I am a big hockey fan, have played my entire life, still do in the men's league here in the Richmond area, and have had a chance to play both with and against some of the alums of the JMU Ice Hockey program. And they're off to a fast start this season. We want to get them on so that you can learn more about this great program and get out to support them for their games. So with that, we're going to bring on two members of JMU Ice Hockey. First of all, happy Sunday, guys. We've got Jackson and Ryan from JMU Ice Hockey. Guys, I want to start off right off the bat. You're a program that year in and year out continues to have success, but maybe the broader JMU landscape may not know about this program and what makes kind of club sports at JMU so special. So right off the bat, introduce both of yourselves and tell us a little bit about this program. I know there's probably a lot of questions from our fan base. Where do you play? What division are you in? And we'll kind of start with your names and positions and go from there.
Yeah, so my name's Ryan Quaid. I'm a junior here. I'm the president of the club, and I've been playing here all my 3 years so far.
Yeah, I'm Jackson Pasolowski. I play defense for the JMU Club Ice Hockey team. I'm the risk officer of the team, and both of us are co-captains.
All right, awesome. So I've always said, well, really quick, I've always said if I had come into some money, the first thing I'm doing is making a massive donation to JMU. I want to put ice in the Atlantic Union Bank Center. If we could, at the very least, maybe get some ice over at Massanutten or something. So practices, games, talk about the logistics of putting on a high-level ice hockey program, but not having a rink as close to campus as I know you guys would probably like.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a tough drive. We have about an hour and 15 minutes to Haymarket, Virginia, which is the closest ice rink to Harrisonburg since the Charlottesville rink burnt down, 5 or 6 years ago?
Yeah, something like that.
Just a weird fire that happened and burnt it down. But it's about an hour and 15. It's not all too bad. Last year, we were really lucky to get a locker room confirmed for this year, so we get to keep our stuff there and just kind of leave everything so we don't have to truck it back and forth. And the vans JMU provides us, super, super awesome by them to help us out. And so we'll just go up there Tuesdays practices and then Friday, Saturdays games, whether that's home or away. We have a great.
Well, guys, your mic cut out a little bit, so I'm hoping we can get your audio back. But while we work on some of the audio issues, yeah, we got you back. We got you back. Talk a little bit about also the conference that you guys play in, because this is, again, as somebody who's played with some of your former players and has had a chance to see you on occasion when you've had some games in the Richmond area. This is high level ice hockey. So talk about some of the teams you play in, and maybe what's the makeup of a typical player who tries out for your teams in terms of their hockey background.
Yeah, so like you said, I mean, this is really high-level hockey. I think the word club kind of diminishes it a little bit, but I guess so. Kind of like a little bit of background of what the word like club means to us and in the ACHA world. It allows us students to be able to run an organization, and I don't know exactly how it works in other schools, but at JMU, you know, we're both officers on the team, so it's our say at the end of the day what executive decisions happen. And like you said, you know, it's a high level of hockey, so we're trying to run essentially what we feel like is the highest level hockey we're going to play at the end of our careers, while also managing ourselves. So it can be a lot. And the guys that you see, when we were freshmen first coming out, one of the biggest advancements that we had was actually getting transportation from JMU to get to the rink. That's an hour and a half away, or whatever equates it, an hour and 15. And now, like Quaid had mentioned, we have a locker room, we have a ACHA M2 and M3 team, and exactly how the divisions work. Quaid can maybe get a little bit more in depth on how like the breakout works, but you're seeing top tier hockey players, and especially I think it was just last year, and Quaid can back me up on this, but Canadian hockey players are able to come down and start playing in like NCAA. So that's sort of flowing the market for top tiers American kids that were playing junior hockey to start playing ACHA. So now ACHA is the big hype, and now
we lost your mic again, guys. I don't know. Sorry. And again, as they work through the mic on the laptop, again, this college hockey universe now continues to there you go. We got you back. Guys like Gavin McKenna, obviously making a lot of attention at Penn State with his journey into college hockey, coming from the Canadian junior ranks. You're spot on to say there's been really a flood of new talent into. Has that impacted JMU, to kind of continue your thought?
Yeah, we've absolutely seen it. Just the talent that we've had that's come in, especially from this freshman class. It's unbelievable to see kind of the skill that has been brought here, at least with our time here. Just the difference that we've seen in terms of professionality and also skill within these past 3 years has been nothing short of incredible. And that's really has to do with the whole hockey and college hockey landscape changing entirely. You see in all these clubs over the country how much the social media aspect of it, the skill that's coming in, it's becoming something that's, when Jackson mentioned that club kind of diminishes where we are in terms of skill. I mean, we're seeing teams that have gone to play in our conference have gone to go and beat an NCAA D1 team. I mean, University of Las Vegas just beat Denver last year, who Denver won the national championship. So it's really college hockey in general. The landscape of it is just entirely changing, and it's kind of the Wild West right now, as we're seeing.
Yeah, and programs like Spit and Chicklets, the podcast that obviously focuses mainly on the NHL, have really done a great job, in my opinion, at least, bringing more eyeballs to college hockey and talking about the rise and how there are so many talented players who likely could not only play at the Division I level, but thrive at the Division I level. And what I think is really cool about it is, to your point about social media, you're seeing these major club programs, in particular, some of the SEC schools now are drawing massive crowds for their game. So maybe take people into what a typical JMU ice hockey game is like. Obviously, you're playing your games in Haymarket, but you do get out to rinks all across the state. Like I said, I've seen you play in Richmond. There were a bunch of JMU fans in attendance at that game. I know sometimes you might play a little later than people expect for a typical college ice hockey start, but take fans who may be interested into what a game day atmosphere is like for you guys.
Yeah, home games are something special to us in the heart. We have a great intern team that just take it to the top, and the professionality is incredible. We have all the lights off and the disco balls going and the music's blaring, and it's a lot of fun to see all the JMU people come out and support us. It's a really, really cool experience to have, and especially, playing an hour and 15 away from campus, to still see that people care and come support us, whether it's friends, whether it's family, whether it's people we've never met before, whether it's alumni that played back in '09. To see them come and support this club and what we're doing here is just, it's incredible all the way from the top down. It's really cool to see.
Now, one thing about JMU Ice Hockey that maybe if there's people watching this show have maybe never even seen one of your games, they've probably seen your jerseys. You guys have some of the best jerseys, not only in the JMU sports universe, but really, I think across the country, man. Your uniforms really pop. Talk about the designs. I know you guys have a lot of fun with those jerseys and take a lot of pride in them. I know in the past you've sold those jerseys to kind of generate income for the club. Is that something you guys are still doing? And is there a way that people can continue to support the club through the purchase of merchandise or gear or anything else?
Yeah, so we were actually going to take the opportunity to announce that on this podcast that we are reopening this store. It'll be open next week. You do it through a team link through Vibero, who's our jersey provider, who they are doing an incredible job. It's just a store that you can click, you can buy. We're going to be offering the whites and purples as long as Vibero is okay with it. And so fans will have the opportunity to purchase that and wear them just what we wear. So it's definitely the design process. Vibero helps us out a lot. We have some committees in the team that kind of take it pretty seriously. The style committee is a big thing for us. So yeah, I mean, just the way that we've been able to purchase these jerseys, and especially with all of our gloves, our shells, to see not only we look great and it's awesome, but with that, people see our jerseys, just like you mentioned, and our uniforms and say, wow, these guys look really good. And we want to come and wear a cool jersey like that. We might as well give JMU a look. And from there, the school kind of sells itself, right? I mean, this place is unbelievable.
I mean, as far as jerseys go, I think people are always looking, like you always see random people out in hockey jerseys. I saw one, I'm number 5. And so I was driving down the street about a weekend ago, and I see a kid walking down the street and he's wearing a JMU Ice Hockey number 5 jersey. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's my jersey. How did you get that? It just blows my mind. Like those little interactions are the stuff that we love the most.
Well, hold me to this. I can promise you my Christmas gift to myself this year is going to be a new JMU Ice Hockey jersey, kind of help you guys out. Kind of wrapping up though, where are you guys in your schedule now? And maybe talk about some of the upcoming games you have and give fans of this show, if they want to come out, catch some great ice hockey and support you guys, what do you got coming up in the weeks to come?
Yeah, so we have George Washington here on Friday at 9:00 at Haymarket. And then we play them again at St. James in Virginia. It's actually right by where I live in Alexandria. And that'll be at 1 p.m. It's an afternoon game. And from there, we've been doing great this season. We're 10-2 right now with 2 overtime losses. And that's it. So 10-2-2. And we've been doing great. It's definitely a fun, really, really good season we've been having so far. So with that, we have our St. James tournament, which is coming up. It's an ACC Fall Classic, and that is in 2 weeks. In the what date is that?
I believe the 11th.
The 11th through the 13th, we'll be having
14th, I'm just kidding.
14th through the 16th, we'll be having 3 games. It's right there in Alexandria by DC, and that's a big league games for us.
And in terms of schedule, all the schedules available on our Instagram, JMU Ice Hockey. If anyone's interested, you guys can go check out that page. We have amazing graphics, like Quade had mentioned, our intern team, our management team. They really take care of us out on the back end. Definitely couldn't be here where we are today without them.
Dude, that's awesome, guys. And again, another opportunity for JMU fans to show this culture of athletics that extends so much further than just our Division I teams. So many different ways that you can continue to support JMU, continue to advance this brand, because when JMU Ice Hockey is having success, that's more eyeballs that are going to come to this athletics department and continue to raise the brand of JMU athletics. Maybe last question for me, where our other guests are getting ready. Maybe give me some insight into who your rivals are now. I know probably some good games between the teams down in Richmond. I know Richmond Ice Hockey had a pretty good tradition. I know Liberty obviously has gotten a lot of attention for their ice hockey program, but who's the big rival on your schedule that you're circling? You say that's the game we're pretty jacked up for every time we get on the ice.
I would say UVA is a big one, just the crosstown rivalry. That's always a pretty big game. Kind of, you always know somebody on that team. I grew up playing with 2 guys that are on that team, and that's always one you want to kind of have on your schedule circled. And that's one for me. Richmond, another one like you touched on, just played them last night. Had a tough game. It was a good game. We lost 2-0, but those in-state games are something that you definitely feel the fans are there, they're supporting, and so that's definitely one for me. You got one?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a few friends at Georgetown. I always love playing Georgetown. Last year, they'd take it to us. And then this year, I ended up taking it to them twice. And this kind of like give and take that we have back and forth, like Quade had said, with UVA, Richmond, Georgetown. The one thing that I do love about it being club hockey is that, you know, you kind of you might say words on the ice to the other players, but as soon as the whistle's blown, like it's over, everyone knows, like, you know, you're going back home, the game's over, you were happy to have played, but there's no bad blood off the ice. You know, you're all just college students at the end of the day. That's kind of what we enjoy the most about ACHA.
Awesome. Well, every time I go in the rinks in Richmond, I pass the Richmond locker room, I give a little subtle boo to the just to make sure and I always have some sort of JMU gear on, so always repping the brand in any way I can. But guys, seriously, thanks for what you do for the ice hockey community, and it's really cool, especially for somebody like me who's been about a passionate fan as you can get, and still loves to play. Never got a chance to wear a jersey for JMU in an ice hockey sense, but it's really cool to see kind of kids getting to live out a dream I know I would have had when I was back there in kind of 2001 through 2005. So I know I can say from a lot of former JMU grads who play in the ice hockey community, what you do kind of matters even more than maybe you think. And you've got a lot of fans cheering you on from the sidelines. And hopefully that leads to conversations like this to get more people out at your games in Haymarket. And when you're traveling around the state or in other areas, we're going to do everything that we can now to kind of promote you through our Instagram page and others. But good luck the rest of the season. And just know, again, we have a ton of people cheering you guys on.
Hey, we really appreciate it. And we hope to see you at a game here real soon.
Awesome. And give real quick, what's the website that people can go find the jerseys when they go on sale?
That'll be Verbero. We'll blast it out through we'll have a personalized link, and we'll put that on our social medias and our website as well. And that'll be pretty easy for fans to access and just kind of go from there.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, good luck the rest of the way. Make sure you beat Richmond every time you play them. We got to get the rebound back on. It happens every once in a while. It's hockey. You're going to lose some here and there, but next time you get them, I have a feeling you'll come out on top. So thanks again, guys.
Do that just for you to make sure.
All right, go Dukes. All right, and with that, we are going to bring in our first guest today from a basketball perspective. So it's another winter sport that we're going to turn our attention to as we look towards the hardwood and everything that's going to come from JMU men's basketball this year. We're also going to be talking women's as well. But we got a friend of the show who's been always great with his time. He is coming to us from the road where JMU is getting set to begin their season on the road at Akron. And it is Coach P, Preston Spradlin, joining us now. Coach, first of all, I know it is a crazy busy time for you and your program. So anytime you take some time out of the schedule when you're on the road, we got to give you an extra level of appreciation for that. Well, before we wait for our women's basketball colleagues, I just want to give you a chance to kind of set the stage for this season. And Sean's popping on right now, so I'll bring him in a minute. But tell us where you're at. I know that this is a big game. You want to set off the season in a big way by getting a W, but it's going to be in a tough environment. I know very few tickets available for this game at Akron. So set the stage for game one in 2025.
Yeah, Matt. Well, first of all, thanks for having me on here. Always a pleasure to get on here and talk to the JMU Nation. You guys do as good a job as anybody connecting with them. So thankful for the opportunity here. And you're right, we're on the road here at Akron. Two of the better mid-major programs squaring off against each other. Courtesy of the Sun Belt MAC Challenge. Two teams, picked to win the league, and we're excited to be here. We came up 2 days early. Just to, make sure that our focus and our rest is where it needs to be. Needed to get out of town with all the festivities for Halloween going on back on campus to, kind of eliminate some distractions. But, a great team in Akron. They went 17-1. Last season, they've got 4 of their top 7 back. One of the top mid-major teams in the country going into the preseason, and one of the nation's longest home winning streaks within their arena. And so, it's going to be a heavyweight bout in terms of mid-major programs squaring off against each other. A lot of similarities in terms of, just how fast we play, how we're both really good defensive teams, but how we get each of those things done is quite different. So it's going to be a battle of wills, and which team that can come out and really play to their identity for for 40 minutes the most consistently is going to be the team that wins, despite where this game is. So we're excited to open the season in general, and then we're certainly excited to do it against another quality opponent and test ourselves in a fun on-the-road environment.
Well, Coach, I had a chance to see you guys when you came to Richmond for your scrimmage against the Spiders, and I told you after the game, I thought the one thing that really stood out for me about this team is just how easy I think they're going to be to root for, just a really hard-working group. every year, every team is going to be different. How do you look at this team when you define them to maybe a more casual fan of JMU? What is going to be kind of the signature of this group when fans come to the Atlanta Union Bank and see them, or when they see them on the road?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I hope that's evident that you can see this is an easy group to root for, because it's an easy group to coach, right? They're everyday guys. They bring it. They're extremely competitive. This is a very physical team. We're not going to shy away from contact and physicality, and we certainly want to set the tone each and every game with that I think our fans are going to really appreciate. But I think our strength is in our numbers and playing a lot of guys, which is not necessarily something that I've been able to do throughout my career. But I think we've got just enough parity within our roster and enough depth that, over the course of 40 minutes, playing 9-10 guys is going to be a strength of ours. And so how do you, play to that strength? Playing fast, right? Running on makes, but also making sure that you're, serving and playing to, your strengths and playing as efficient as you can is going to be the challenge for this group. But, I think this is a group of guys that they came here to JMU because they want to win, right? And that's the beauty of the transfer portal, is you get guys from all different walks of life. We are benefiting from a couple guys who got the extra junior college eligibility rule, 2 guys that are going to play a huge role for us, and Brad Douglas and Cliff Davis. And so, they've not experienced winning at the highest level without, throughout their careers. So that's why they're here. And when we got picked first within the league, we told all those guys, hey, you didn't come here to get picked 5th. You came here with the expectation to compete for a championship. And we told you, that day one that you're going to get everybody's best. And that's why they're here. And so it's an easy group to root for, because it's a really fun and rewarding group to coach each and every day. And our fans are going to be able to see that the moment they step on the court.
So, Coach, before we bring in our next guest to kind of have a joint conversation with both of our basketball coaches here at JMU, who are some of the names that fans of this program, when they show up to watch you this year, give us kind of like a roster breakdown, a little roster preview of some of the big names that are going to be integral to this team's success in 2025.
Yeah, well, we have 2 returners, we have 2 freshmen, and then we have 13 transfers, or 11 transfers, and so 13 overall new players out of 15 this year, which is exciting. But guys you're going to need to watch out for. I think Brad Douglas is going to have a big year for us. Kind of in that point guard spot. Cliff Davis, both of those guys being that kind of super senior, taking advantage of the junior college rule, like we said. Cliff is a prolific shooter, has a chance to be, one of the better shooters that we've had, in my tenure. And as a guy who's made 100 threes each of the last 2 seasons in Division I. Eddie Ricks, who started every game for us last year, expect him to take on a bigger role this year and certainly have the versatility to play multiple positions, and just really kept keeping our culture intact and kind of setting the tone for, what a championship program looks like. Justin McBride, is one of the final players that we signed and putting this group together. And, within the Sun Belt, he is a real mismatch problem at 6'7", 230, 240 pounds. And he can shoot, he can dribble, he can post, he can drive, he can do a lot of different things. And so, he's kind of a Swiss Army knife out there for us, and allows us to really hunt some mismatches that play off of him and, help everybody else. And then Gabe Newhoff is another guy, NAIA transfer, which we've had a lot of success with over the years. We think has a chance to be one of the premier big men, within our league this year at 6'9". He's just absolute load down there on the block and rolling and athletic, playing above the rim. 2 freshmen that are going to have a huge impact, Preston Fowler and Christian Brown, both of those guys coming in, and not your typical freshman from a talent, maturity, and athletic standpoint. They're both going to be able to, provide for us this year. Some veteran guys, Ike Cornish coming in, who's got a lot of miles on his tenure and has got great size, great shooting. Paul Lewis, another shifty point guard, gives us a little bit different look than maybe Brad does, and gives us a little bit of versatility, can really score the ball and pass and play in ball screens. And then, getting a guy healthy like PJ, Paul Jones, who had great experience last year on a 23-win team as a true freshman at Winthrop, comes in and, once we get him back healthy completely, I think he's going to have a great role on our team. So a lot of guys, a lot of, a lot of versatility. And like I said, strength of being, in our numbers is going to be something we're going to try to capitalize on throughout the season.
Awesome. Well, this in the business is called a transition. So what we thought originally we were going to have you guys on the same time, but I actually think turns out to be something kind of cool to bring him onto the show. You get to share a building with Coach O'Regan every day. You get to see a little bit about how he runs his program. Obviously, incredibly successful year in and year out. 30-6 last year, 18-0 in the Sun Belt Conference regular season. Tell us about the dynamic between you two and maybe something that you've learned from him and the way he approaches his leadership of one of the flagship programs at JMU.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, man, I'm happy to be the opening act for my guy, Coach O. He is the headliner for sure, and man, so thankful. Number one, to be able to come into an awesome program and take over with the momentum, and taking over from Mark's success is obviously unique. But when you've got a guy across the hall who's been here for so long, he's Mr. JMU. He's wore a lot of different hats and has had just tremendous success. To have somebody like that you get an opportunity to learn from and work alongside is incredibly valuable. And then you just combine that with the unbelievable family man that he is, and just terrific person. And he's been great, helping me navigate the campus administratively, watching his teams. I would tell you, we've always prided ourselves on having just a culture of players that love basketball and want to work and want to be in the gym all the time. That was always a huge sell of ours at my previous spot and here at JMU. And he's got the same thing, man. I mean, I tell you, I've never seen a basketball program and a group of players work harder, outside of practice time that they get with the coaches than Coach O's group. I mean, it's really remarkable to see them be in the gym, and that's contagious, right? And so our guys are in the gym all the time too, because they're seeing the women's program, in there working and enjoying their work, and really recruiting quality people and student athletes who love basketball is what we want to do. And they're certainly doing that at the highest level right across the hall with Coach O and the women's program.
All right. Well, I'm going to bring in Coach O. So, Coach O, welcome to the program. I know you got a special guest next to you that we're going to introduce in just a second. So, you got a chance to hear Preston say some pretty nice things about you. Before I give you an opportunity to say the same thing for him, have you ever thought about bringing him in the gym with you to maybe teach him how to do some pull-ups? Because you had a viral video go. I don't know how much you got it. Did you get to 15, 16? I don't want to short you from how many you did, but you got to get him doing some pull-ups too.
Well, first of all, Coach P, I'll give you that $100 later. Thanks for that intro, man. I really appreciate that. It was 20 pull-ups.
There you go. Okay. I knew you'd set the record straight.
And I regret it, because if I did 20, they got off from conditioning. I should have stopped at 19 and said, let's go. We got stuff to do. Yep. But no, he's in there working out. He's in there working out.
Well, I was gonna have some fun with him, because I've heard the real area where he excels is with his voice. His wife was telling us that there's some Backstreet Boys videos maybe out there. We had him singing Happy Birthday to Matt Roan this year. He's got some pipes. I think there's a missed opportunity in the offseason, maybe getting him with one of the a cappella groups on campus.
Absolutely.
But
karaoke
Coach O,
at least.
Exactly.
At least.
There's a fundraising idea there for the collective or something. But Coach O, same question to you. What have you learned getting to share kind of a building with Coach P and seeing how this program has continued the success that we had seen under Coach Byington and the continued growth of the JMU men's basketball brand is they have success that kind of blends over into helping your program grow as well and continue to attract eyeballs and talent to Harrisonburg.
Yeah, no doubt. And what I like the most is, like, I think we really match as far as like our values, what we're doing, how hard we want to work. They're in the practice gym a lot. I'm watching them a lot from above, and they work as hard as anybody that I know. And so that really matches, right? What's I've really appreciated about him is, and I hope Mark doesn't take offense to this, or anybody prior, Lou Rowe, but he's just got a warmth to him about hanging out and coming over, and that sort of stuff really helps me, because it loosens me up, right? I've been doing this long. I want to win everything, and hey man, take a step back and maybe hang out and come on over and celebrate Halloween with us, which I turned you down on, but right, that's that perspective I need sometimes, because I just get, that's how I get. If you ask anybody around here, I get during the season. That's one of my faults, I think. But that's what I've really enjoyed is having him, Bob, and Matt Roan, it's really just a different feel, and it's really warm. It's really family oriented. And again, think about you've got Jeff Bourne, who had his kids were grown. He's got grandkids, right? And Matt's got young kids. Bob's got young kids. Coach P's got young kids. So it's been awesome. It's really increased the family feel here for sure.
Well, and before we get to Bree, because I want to bring you into discussion as well, I do want to piggyback off what you just mentioned, though, because it is a new era of JMU athletics and the success for the football program, the energy that has been brought to JMU athletics by an athletic director like Matt Rohn, who's really had a get to yes philosophy, trying to find new and creative ways to advance this department, to bring energy into the facilities, to enhance the facilities, as well as now a president and President Jim, who has been a out front ambassador for all things college athletics, and in his own capacity, helping to generate the revenue, the fundraising, to build this brand. I'll go to you, Coach P. What has that meant to you? Especially in this era of college athletics where there is such an increased focus on revenue generation and NIL and everything that comes with that, to have partners in this space that are really rowing in the same direction.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. I think, just like O said, going back to the similarities, between all of us, our energy, how we're all family guys. And I think we've got a good, work-life balance. But, I think Matt does a great job of being able to wear multiple hats. He's got a law degree. He could moonlight as a comedian if he wanted to, right? And
Absolutely.
then obviously he's a competitor because he is a former athlete. He wants to win, right? And so he understands and he values coaching. So I think anytime that he's in that setting with me or O or Bob, he's saying, hey, what do you need, right? What's important to you? You're the expert on your program and your team. And my job is to go out there and find, creative ways to do that. And I think he's exceptional at being able to do all those types of things. And I think that's what's needed in this ever-changing era of college athletics with rev share and NIL and transfer portal and all those things. And he's versatile. He's but it starts with being grounded, having great balance and being extremely competitive, and then applying just his skill set to go out there and give us the added edge that we need in each of our respective programs to, stay at the top.
Yeah, kind of same question to you, Coach O, is that there was a real, doubt or question mark when there was the athletics administration transition is what would this new era of JMU athletics look like? And then you have a presidential search in the same time frame. There was a lot of unknowns, but to see the momentum not only be sustained, but really have kind of lighter fluid poured on it and to see where everyone's going in the same direction. It's been exciting, and it has to be a powerful tool for you as you continue to maintain a program that's had unprecedented success at the college level in terms of NCAA women's basketball.
Yeah, and look, it's adaptability, right? There's you see in the landscape in college basketball, football, right? There's a generation that's like, I don't want to deal with this. I don't want to dive into this new age of challenges, right? And I think Matt's just the man for the job, right? President Jim, he had a great joke when we were down in Atlanta accepting Pease Award. So I think that's what it is, right? Is how are we going to figure this out together? Because yeah, right. From a narrow scope, I'm concerned with, I want our program to be as good as it can be. How are we going to make sure that happens? But he's obviously got to make sure men's basketball is rolling and football is rolling and everybody else. And that's all I've felt from him is that, like, we're going to figure this out. What's most important to you? Let's get that. Let's work down that list. And I think that, I guess, fresh perspective, right? And there's a youthful part of that that I've really appreciated. But yeah, that's what it was. And it's like, hey, I really need this. Let's get it. Let's figure out how we're going to get it, and let's figure out how we're moving forward and how we're going to sustain your success. I just think that's his perspective, and Pete touched on it a lot. He's hilarious, but it's different. It's a different. We didn't have, we weren't on a group text with Jeff Bourne and Signetti and Byington. It's a different feel, right? And so I really have appreciated that about Matt, number one, but Chesney texted me after a game, great job, right? Like that's a different thing for me. It almost caught me off guard how warm all three of these guys were with this. And I think when we're in it together and you feel that, I think it's just easier to move forward together in that sense too. But Matt's been absolutely great with his kind of innovation, flexibility, how he's led an athletic department that is half new, half carryovers, right? Where you got Jeff Polglases and Jen Phillips that have been here forever, right? And I think he's just done a wonderful job with the whole thing.
Well, and I've seen both of you out with recruits and your teams out at football games as well. And again, that collective energy and the collective success is really propelled everyone to finding new ways to, again, reach new audiences, bring more excitement to the programs. And it's been awesome to see. Bree, I want to bring you into discussion for fans who are not familiar with you. I'm going to give you a chance to tell a little bit about your JMU story. I have to just give you a shout out because I believe you're a fellow SMAD major, correct?
Yeah, I am.
So we'll talk afterwards. SMAD major's always doing great things at JMU. But Bree, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Bree Robnson. I'm a junior guard. I transferred into JMU last year, and I think my whole experience here has been really good. I think I've been able to grow as a basketball player, as a student. Like you said, I'm a SMAD major, and I think it's incredible how many resources there are academically and obviously athletically. Coach O and the rest of the coaches are a really key factor for me here. Helping me like stay positive and be able to excel on the court, and always being there for me as a person has really helped me succeed both on and off the court.
Well, on the court, this program has had incredible success. You were an integral part of that success last year, but I know there is some unfinished business with this team. You played, I believe, in all 36 games last year for the Dukes. You tip off tomorrow night, game 1 at the Atlantic Union Bank Center, but we know this is a long journey with very specific goals at the end of it. How are you approaching this new season and again, trying to reach that ultimate goal I know for this program, which is a berth in the NCAA tournament?
I think for me, this is a fresh start. I know all the lessons and stuff I've learned from last season, but this offseason, me and the rest of the team have put in so much work in this preseason throughout our practice, our first practice compared to the practice we just had. I think we've taken a lot of big steps, and we're all just really excited, really ready to start our journey tomorrow.
And then about this group, what makes this unit special? I know every team has a different feel, has a different vibe and different energy. Is there something that stands out that this year's group for you compared to last season, and that what can be the difference in allowing this team to reach the ultimate goal?
Yeah, I think we have a lot deeper connections. Like as a team, we always hang out with each other for fun. And we can have deep conversations and we're there for each other, which I think is just something that we lacked a bit last year. And I think that's going to show on the court, and especially if we're in tight games in overtime or whatever, to make sure we win that championship.
Awesome. Well, Coach B and Coach O, I'm going to bring in now somebody to ask a few questions who I know is familiar to both of you. And Afton Sadamon, he's come on to our podcast this year and it's been a great addition. We're big fans of obviously bringing in some youth to the podcast this year. A little less gray hair on Afton's head than mine. So, Afton, I know you're a basketball player in your own right. So, yeah, the floor is yours, man.
Well, first of all, Coach P, Coach O, and Bree, congrats for a great season last year. Congrats for being picked first overall for this upcoming season. But Coach O, I'm going to start with you. So you and your staff have created incredible schedules for this year and last year. You play Tech at home, you play Notre Dame at home, you play Villanova at home, you play Texas on the road, and that's just to name a few of them. What's your mindset going into those games? How do you prepare for those compared to just a regular conference game?
Great question, Afton. Look, I love scheduling hard, and I know a lot of people out there think I'm nuts for it, but I think number one, our athletes want that challenge, right? They really do. Like they're going to get more excited for some games than others. That's just human nature. But yeah, they'll remember beating Notre Dame at home. You know, if we can manage that right and we can do that, that's a lifelong memory for sure. So I think trying to create opportunities to make those memories, right, or have those big time challenges. And you know, for Bree, when she's guarding Hannah Hidalgo, she'll be able to tell that story in 20 years. So that's the first piece. The second piece is I want to figure out where we're weak, right, and where we need to get better at. And so I just believe as many challenges as we can get. Now, it's not easy to get all the time, right? You get no's a lot, or you get there's a reason people don't want to do it. But I really, we found out a lot about ourselves last year and only 4 losses in non-conference, but we found out a lot. Northern Arizona taught us a lot. NC State taught us the most, right? And so we really changed based on the results of some of those games. So there's really 2 reasons. One, I think it's more fun, right, to play and be challenged. And 2, I do think it's good. It helps us grow stronger when you figure out what you got to get better at.
Yeah, I think if the past year has taught us anything, it only helps your team, especially from last year. It shows that. And Coach P, I'm going to flip to you. You talked about 13 new players. How do you keep a stable identity, but while playing to your players' strength? And what is the strength this year going to be?
It's a great question. I think that's the challenge in coaching, in the portal era. And, I always say that for us, we recruit to our culture, right? But our system is going to kind of adapt each and every year. Last year we had to play a little bit slower because our rotation, wasn't quite what it could be this year. I think with having, more players that we can play, having the opportunity to play faster, sub guys in and out, have some diverse lineups is going to be a strength for this team. But making sure that we're recruiting, good people, and then we spend a lot of time with them, right? We have a lot of one-on-one conversations. We have a lot of team conversations, just kind of breaking down those barriers, because when you have 13 new players, they all have a different experience coming from the portal, some good, some bad. And so we try to really build off of that. More often than not, you're getting some guys who have not experienced winning, and that's why they're coming to JMU, because the expectation is to win here, and they want to be a part, of a championship program. And so they know what a non-winning locker room feels like and looks like, right? So we talk about those things, we identify them, and then we work really hard to make sure that the locker room and the overall team experience that they have here at JMU is different from the one that they had at their previous stop. And, we're pretty intentional about that and everything that we do. We don't just hope that they become good teammates. We enforce it. We show them how to do it, and we coach that. And when we do that, I think that keeps our culture intact, and then it allows us to really push them and kind of mold a system, that ultimately allows everybody to play to their strengths and, allows you to play some efficient basketball, even though that might look a little different year in and year out.
Well, thank you, Coach P. I hope you do great tomorrow against Akron. Sold out game, so that should be fun. And Bree, I have one question for you. After a great season last year, over 30 wins, was a record-setting season, but you still fell short in the conference championship. What's your mindset going into this year, and how are you going to approach it as a marathon instead of a sprint?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all a lot hungrier. I know myself that game meant a lot, learned a lot from it. But yeah, I know my confidence has built, the team's confidence has built. So taking that and approaching each game like a championship game and taking it just as serious, working just as hard for it, so we can prepare leading up to that. And yeah, Coach O always says every practice is the most important practice and every game is the most important game just because it's the next one. So yeah, taking that mentality and then going into the games and getting the job done.
All right. My final question for both of you, and really for any of you who want to answer this, but I'll start with you, Coach B. Fan support at Bridgeport Stadium, we know, has been incredible, and we've continued to see the growth and support at games at the Atlanta Union Bank Center. This is kind of your opportunity to pitch fans of JMU Athletics for why is it really so important that arena is packed game in and game out, because it does matter in the final outcome. I know I heard multiple times last season from you in post-game press conferences where you said having the crowd that we had was the difference in this game. So kind of the floor is yours to pitch to anyone who's listening. We got to pack the stadium this year.
Without a doubt. I mean, obviously we've got, the greatest venue in all of mid-major basketball, just the building itself, but it really changes. It changes the energy. It changes the complexion of our team. It has a real intimidation factor when everybody comes in there and they see JMU Nation going crazy. I know that our players feed off of it. They have a different, added level of confidence when they're playing at home. They do everything better, right? We talk better on defense. We sprint harder in transition. We set better screens. We're a little more locked in, and we just feed off the energy of the crowd. And just to be honest, it's not something that every team within our league can count on having each and every night. And so, we want to be the premier program on the men and women's side, in our league, and that is the separator, right? And so when our fans come out and they support, it's just it is a different level of excitement and energy. And I can promise you, our players, number one, they deserve it, and number two, they feed off of it, and they will reward you with the men's and women's program with an unbelievably competitive game each and every night. And they'll leave everything they have out there for 40 minutes. We just need you to show up and bring that energy.
Yeah, and I'll add to that too, because I agree. You can feel the energy is different. And when we were on the field, we had a recruit here the very first weekend at Bridgeforth. Same thing. You can just feel you can feel the energy, and it's for I don't know, I didn't play here, right? But from a player's perspective, Bree can give you that. What I'd tell you too is like, yeah, it's better. It's more fun. It's like a party. Like show up and watch it. Like we're both good. Like we're gonna be good. So like, it's not like you're coming and watching somebody who's just taking hits. It's like, man, we're good. We're gonna be diving on the floor. We're gonna be making plays. We're gonna be taking charges. We're gonna be getting and-ones, three. It's like it's fun and I love our fans. I think our fans are awesome. What we have, there's another layer to what we can add as far as with students, especially, right? And so, just to me, it's a fun environment. It's back in the day when we were at the Convo. Yeah, there was no Wi-Fi. You couldn't get anything going. Now you got everything. Heck, you got beer at the game if you need, right? You got everything, man. It is. This place is awesome. And we had a scrimmage last week that was a staff that had never been here, and they were blown away. I mean, they were like, "This is unbelievable. It's like one of the best places I've played in," right? And so, like, yeah, come out, man. And the more people that come, the easier it is to make it like a party. If 20 people come, yeah, it's not going to be. You're going to be sitting by yourself, right? If 300 people come, 1,000 people come, man, that's fun. And we've had a couple of games like that. It makes a drastic difference.
And Bree, I'll give you a chance to pitch to your fellow students. Like if they're watching right now, what's your message for them for why they should put this on their schedule and get out to as many games as possible to help you have success and again, help us reach our ultimate prize?
Well, I think we're a really fun group to watch. Anytime people come to support us, like everyone said, it makes a big difference. You can feel the energy. You can hear it. It's amazing. It fuels us. And then, like you said, in return, we make the game fun, we make it entertaining, and we get the dub.
Awesome. Well, guys, I know this is not easy to do on a Sunday before you're tipping off in game one, and I what I really appreciate about both of you is you've made accessibility really a hallmark of how you approach your job and how you approach engaging with this fan base, and I think it matters, and I hope it leads to continuing to see growth in terms of more and more people investing time, energy, and resources into your programs to help you reach the success we all want to see. So we'll end just kind of with a go Dukes and wish you both well. On Monday, we'll be watching kind of the split screen of both games and hope to have you back on as we kind of go through the rest of the season and continue to make our way towards dual NCAA tournament appearances. It's happening this year. I'm just willing it into being. So all the best to you guys, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you. Go Dukes.
Thank you. Go Dukes.
Awesome. And with that, we are going to turn our attention back to football. We're going to bring in Michael Evangelista. Guys, first of all, just what a discussion across the board. I think you see the full gamut of JMU athletics in this discussion today, from the JMU men's ice hockey team, which is playing, sometimes at 10 o'clock at night at a Haymarket rink. And, you wouldn't think that they're going to see a huge turnout of JMU Dukes, but they're getting fans from the area, as well as people who are even willing to travel to support them, to both our men's and women's basketball teams that continue to grow. Really just great stuff.
Yeah, I think it adds to, we haven't used this moniker yet this season, but the whole everything school mindset, right? We've got basketball programs that, are preseason rank and top in the conference. I love that we had both coaches on just with the transfer report. I think it was really good for our listeners to hear who to look for on the men's side, who to look for on the women's side, even though there's more continuity there. And ice hockey, right? Hockey crushing it on the ice as well. I think it's really cool to see and adds to sort of that party atmosphere that Coach Reagan was talking about, that we're all winning together.
Yeah, and Afton, you've gotten to know both of these coaches and have done some work in the offseason to get close to these basketball programs. It's a sport I know you're super passionate about. Pretty cool discussion, but I know you're really high on both of these groups as well.
Yeah, I am really high on these groups. I think on the women's side, we're returning a lot of people, in particular, Peyton McDaniel, Player of the Year last year, mid-major preseason Player of the Year. Coach O is the mid-major preseason Coach of the Year. So it's just all coming together on the women's side. And then on the men's side, we're bringing back Justin Taylor, a big, lengthy guard/forward, got good playing time at Syracuse. Eddie Rick started every game for us. And then in the portal, we really had a great portal haul, getting Justin McBride. Look for him to be one of the best players. He can do it all. If you went to the Richmond exhibition, he can rebound, he can shoot, he can play defense. just a do-it-all player. I think he's 6'8" forward. And then our point guard, Bradley Douglas, coming from Georgia Southern. Probably if you watch basketball games, you know him pretty well because we played him 4 times in the past 2 years because in-conference opponent. And then, in my opinion, the most exciting player is Cliff Davis to me. If you went to the Richmond exhibition, you could see the amount of plays that we drew up for him. He only went, I think, like 2 of 13 from 3, but you could tell that from the amount of plays we drew up for him that he's an incredible shooter. Look for him to be sort of like maybe even like Bryce Lindsey was last year, incredible shooter. We all know he's at Villanova now. And then on the women's side of the ball, like I said, you bring back Peyton McDaniel, you have Ashanti Barnes coming back, you have 2 SMU transfers. It should be a great season for men and women's kicking off tomorrow.
Well, it was also cool to hear how much they've enjoyed their relationship and dynamic with both Matt Roan as well as Bob Chesney and that cross kind of support that you see. They use the energy from football to help bring in attention and energy towards their recruiting classes. And it's been awesome to see, again, that kind of rising tide of success across the board, really paying dividends in a number of different fronts. But I do want to transition now to football. I had the chance to go down to the game at Texas State, spent a lot of the game with Eric Pitzer and Zach Price, as well as John Connor, Carol Benassi, just a great group of Dukes down in Texas. Got a chance to interview Charles Haley, which was pretty special. Spent some time with both Matt Roan as well as President Jim. Just an overall amazing day in Texas. First of all, going to start just by saying shout out to the Texas State fans. They were incredible. Actually had probably one of the more enjoyable away game experiences I've had from the stadium atmosphere, which was awesome. The concessions were great. The weather was awesome. Just, I know I will personally miss, and Zach Price said it as well in kind of our post-game recap that we did after the game. I'll miss having them in the conference because of how good of an experience it was. But on the football field as well, the Dukes really took care of business in a big way, get off to a big start, which is one of our keys to success in this game. Is there has been this kind of maybe haze over away games. Is can the Dukes come out and fire on all cylinders? They showed it in a big way, and another huge second half performance, another shutout from our defense. I'll start with you, Michael, kind of your initial thoughts from that game, which was critical in continuing to approach what our goal is to reach that Sun Belt championship. The Dukes now continue to be undefeated in Sun Belt play, 7-1 overall.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it, right? We got sort of the away game haze off of our back. If you take away the UNC game last year, this team and program is just totally different on the road. And to come out of Texas State, San Marcos, I think I'm pronouncing that right, John?
Yep.
To win 52-20 against a team that beat UTSA, which we saw on Saturday, had a big win and blowing out Tulane. That the Texas State win ends up being a lot more impactful for us on the positive side. And you look at Alonzo Barnett, another 5-touchdown game, just phenomenal, right? Like 3 weeks ago when everyone was calling for him to go on the bench, to have 2 massive games and have our offense again go over 500 yards, like speaks a lot to using sort of the ODU game, like I mentioned in the last podcast, as a bit of a jump off, right? I kind of compared it to like past teams, the Villanova game in 2016, some of the games in 22 and 23 where like the team just clicked, and to see him come on the road and outgain an amazing Texas State offense, 5'11" to 352, only allowing 74 yards in the second half, majority of that being on the quarterback scramble, is pretty remarkable. Obviously, we let the record slip, right? We gave up over 300 yards, but that Texas State offense, man, they are good. Brad Jackson, the quarterback, is just as good as advertised. And the fact that we intercepted him 3 times when he went into the game with only 2 interceptions for the year, and that's a quick read offense. I think shout out again to the defensive players, Coach Hitchler. It's like they're watching what's happening in the first half and like kind of taking notes, like, okay, what is Texas State doing that's like beating us? In the second half, they just shut it down. They're like, we're going to make this quick adjustment and really be able to take sort of the game by storm. And it was just a phenomenal performance. It was on national television to have.
We're taking that for granted now, how often we're on. It's crazy.
Like we've been on, I think we've been on more nationally televised games than we have not right now since we moved up to FBS, which is like just ridiculous if you think about it. But tell me what, like all of ESPN was talking about us. The entire sports world was talking about us Tuesday night. We announced the Marvel game, some of the helmets afterwards, and just keeping up the momentum. It was a really good week for the Dukes. And Afton, you could talk a little bit about some of the scores from Saturday as well. I think it's been all around a really positive week.
Yeah, it's been a great week. As players, you can't look forward, but as Taylor always says, we're fans. We can always look forward to games. So now we're 27th in the country in the AP poll, 28th in the coaches poll. So don't look now, but if we beat Marshall this weekend, we could see once again an App State team coming into a ranked Bridgeport Stadium. It's gonna be interesting, but a lot of things went our way. Taylor's UTSA team destroying Tulane.
Yeah, shout out to Taylor I think he had more
Taylor.
UTS gear that I even thought was
Those
possible
rocking the Roadrunners
on in
hard.
one
It was
photo.
great.
Awesome to see.
And that was awesome. Awesome to see Taylor get happy about it. And then also UTSA is to turn around right again, help us out. They play USF this weekend. And then if you'd ask me about a kid's pick, I would say Tulane is going to go in and beat Memphis. Maybe put us in that top group of 5 spot on Friday night. But can't look forward too ahead. Michael is right. There were some great games this weekend. Georgia Tech losing to NC State was big because now all of a sudden our one loss could be to an ACC championship team all of a sudden, because that opens up the door. A lot of cool things. Tuesday night was big. Seeing the offense go for 2 straight games looking just incredible. All 4 quarters look incredible. And then 2 straight weeks of the defense having a little bit of lapses in the first half. But in both games, you can tell that it's just the other offense is just skilled. It's not anything that we weren't playing actually bad football. It was just the offense that we're playing are starting to get better and better. But the adjustments at halftime are just even better than what the offense is. So it's good to see 2 straight weeks of this. And my brother said it yesterday. This reminds him of a lot of the 2023 team. And it got me thinking, he's really right. Like, you start off the year, we barely beat UVA, we barely beat Troy, barely beat Utah State, and then something clicked, and we couldn't be stopped except for that one App State game. And this year is kind of the same thing. We had a couple close calls, barely beat Georgia State, almost pulled a win out against Louisville, but now all of a sudden everything's clicking. And as of now, it's not looking like a team is going to scrape our offense, especially with it's looking like Alonzo Barnett is back. And like I said a couple weeks ago, you just have to wait for him to get back.
Yeah.
For as much as he's done, if you just wait, it'll come. And it's just great to see offense and defense click 2 games in a row. Hopefully,
Michael, I want to ask you if there was one downside to this group, and I use that in the most loose sense possible, because the performance from our defense year has been historic in terms of the defenses that have thrived over this program over many, many years. But we weren't forcing as many turnovers early in the season. Now we've added that to our repertoire, and it's coming at the same time where our offense is starting to click on all cylinders. And that's where, to me, you're really seeing the potential of this group really be limitless, because if you could turn the ball over 4 turnovers now like we are and give this offense that many more possessions to do what they've been doing, we're a pretty scary team right now.
No, I mean, no doubt. And before we talk about the defense and some of the adjustments, right, we got to give a shout out to Nick DeGennaro again.
Yeah, he's having a big game. Every game, 2 games in a row now. It's pretty.
Yeah,
impressive.
He's fantastic. You could see right away why he was initially a Big Ten prospect, right? He started his career out in Maryland. He's got big game speed. He's a bigger receiver than you think. I love our friend Cameron Stark always says, "Feed the Gweed" every time he catches the ball.
He really does want those T-shirts.
He wants them so bad. I don't think we can do it, but he wants them so bad. But he's really stepped up. You know what I mean? This offense as a whole, they talked about on the broadcast, right? Like we can win in the screen game. We can win down the field. We can win with possession, right? With guys like Logan Kyle and some of the folks like Landon Ellis really eating the middle of the field. But you're right. Like at the start of the year, we weren't getting a lot of turnovers on defense. And what I loved about the second half adjustments is, if you notice, Texas State was really killing us on not just the RPO game. They had that wide open touchdown in the corner, but just quick read passes. And I'm not saying that this is the Pittsburgh Steelers of old, but if any football nuts remember like Dick LeBeau and like the late 2000s, early 2010s Pittsburgh Steelers, he coined the term the zone blitz. And essentially it's exactly what it sounds like, but he was very famous for dropping defensive linemen in space. He would fake the blitz. He would bring guys from gaps. And you saw that happen in the second half with Xavier Holmes faking the rush and dropping back into that gap, and then Brad Jackson throwing the pick. Or Andrew Tadeo, Afton's favorite defensive lineman, dropping back into space there and tipping that ball for Justin Eaglin. Like, it's just like, it's really cool to see how the defense has evolved under first-year defensive coordinator Colin Hitchler. It seems like he's been there forever, right? The levels to this defense and the different wrinkles he can put together, it's really phenomenal and a great way to adjust, because at the end of the day, we just played an ODU and Texas State offense, which arguably are most up-tempo all gas, no brakes offenses for the year, which I was really worried about because those are really good offensive teams. And now we go into a Marshall team, which is a bit of a spread, but they're not essentially that fast tempo offense that we saw.
Yeah, and you talked about the Tadeo tip to Eaglin, and Justin Eaglin's someone that's really caught my eye this year because he's really used the portal to his advantage. When he's seeing everybody else leave, everybody else go big time or go get more playing time at smaller school, he's waited out the long route, and all of a sudden he's looking like one of the best corners in the group of 5, maybe even the country. 3 interceptions in 2 games. People rarely even target him because he's literally like a glue stick. Wide receivers can't get off of him. And I think it's good to see someone like him prove that the portal is not always for good. It can be for good, but he's somebody that's used it to his advantage by staying.
And he's probably like I think I tweeted about it. He's arguably our most improved player, and he's always had the physical piece, right? He's a long corner. He has a good stride, decent speed. He just had to work on his tackling and just trust his instincts, right? And that's what he's done all year. And when you're playing out there in space, and you see it from Elijah Culp, probably the best attribute you can have from a corner is confidence, and his confidence is probably at all-time high right now.
Yeah, and guys, I did want to give a little bit of attention, though, again, to Alonzo Barnett for his continued resilience and growth as a quarterback. This game, again, comes out in the first drive, misses some throws, let's be honest. And you start in the back of your mind going, could this be one of those offensive performances where it's a little tough to get going, or we see, one of those games again where group chats start firing up or the internet starts firing up, but it was anything but that. And Alonzo continues to enhance his ability to lead this offense, both with his legs, with some big runs, again, where he showed that signature speed off again, that became kind of a hallmark of his game last year. But then some additional monster throws last week. He is finding his game in so many different ways, and he's now leveraging talent across the board, whether it's Wayne Knight and Fuller out of the backfield, who continue to be dynamic. Usage of the tight ends, which has been incredibly impressive to see. And now we've got Sanchez getting into the game now more through the air. Obviously, Nick DeGennaro and Landon Ellis. And who knows, is Isaiah Alston going to be the one who starts to weave his way in? Are we going to see Michael Scott become another force as we move through the remainder of this season? So many different options for him to spread the ball out, but he's doing it with a ton of confidence and the swagger that you just love to see from a guy who seems like he's having fun again playing college football.
And we still were able to rush for 247 yards, right? I think that's we love the fireworks, and we're throwing the ball down the field, and Wislowski and that amazing screenplay in the first half. But yet we're still doing literally the blocking and tackling so well. And when you run for 247 yards, it's really hard to lose that type of game. And like we talked about last week, the best teams stop the ball on defense and rush the ball on offense. And, let's see how that turns around. And I think we got to look forward to Marshall, right? This is a crazy game. You're talking about.
We all got to see them on national TV as well this week in their game against Coastal Carolina. There was a lot in that game to kind of digest from both of these teams. Big quarterbacks, obviously, in terms of size, and do have the ability to beat you on the ground. Maybe not as shifty and speedy as the quarterbacks we've played the last couple of weeks. What did you see on Thursday night from Marshall in terms of from a matchup perspective that either favors us or where are some areas where you think we're going to have to be at least aware to make sure that we keep our pedal on our foot on the pedal and try to get to 8-1, because again, this is no easy games in the Sun Belt or in college football in general, as we've seen across the country. No matter what conference you're in, any team can beat anybody in this era of college football.
Yeah, I think it starts with the guy you're talking about, right? Carlos Del Rio Wilson's their quarterback. They ran him 20 times on Thursday. Former Florida commit, Florida transfer, then went to Syracuse. When you look across this roster at Marshall, let's just start at a high level. When you look at what they were ranked in high school, this is probably the most talented team we've played since Louisville. Tons of 4-star kids. You got Louisville transfers, South Carolina transfers, Virginia Tech transfers, Michigan transfers, you name it. Also, some call-ups from the FCS that have done really well. You look at a guy like Boogie Trotter, who leads the country, the cornerback, leads the country in interceptions. He played for Eddie George at Tennessee State. So you're looking at tremendous amount of talent. But as I mentioned earlier, it's a bit of a Jekyll or Hyde program right now. They're 4-4 overall, 2-2 in the Sun Belt, but they lost to Coastal. We saw that 44-27, had 5 turnovers in the second half. They lost to Missouri State by 1 point. and then they lost to Louisiana by 3. Yet they blew out ODU. They beat Texas State. So it's really like you don't know which Marshall team you're going to get, right? And I think with Tony Gibson having 80 new players, first-year head coach, coming from, running the defense at North Carolina State, this is sort of a coming home party for him. And I think the factor that we've got to consider here is this upcoming game is the 75 game for Marshall, right? Commemorates the plane crash in 1970 that claimed 75 people on board, majority of them from the football program. There's going to be a ton of emotion coming from Tony Gibson, who, like I said, is a West Virginia native. We have to come to this game ready and win early because it's going to be a packed stadium. They're going to be reeling, right? They just lost to Coastal on national TV with those atrocious jerseys. They're so bad, but they're going to come motivated. They're going to have their backs against the wall. And we talked about watching out for like fake punts, screenplays, double passes. There's going to be more than that this game versus Marshall, and we have to be on our toes. And you look at this, coaching staff a little bit, you'll notice some really familiar names. You got Rod Smith running the offense now. Any JMU fan knows he's all over the coaching carousel for the JMU head coaching job since 2014. He's coached guys like Denard Robinson, Pat White, and Jared Holly's on the staff too, who was our safeties coach back in 2023 that we talked about, all on the staff as well. So they're familiar with the JMU program. They know exactly what they're facing. And I think it's going to be a bigger test than we think, and we're going to have to win early, or else, the power of, the emotions and the crowd starts feeding in, and you start giving a team like this hope.
And Afton, you, like all of us, will be in Huntington for this game on Saturday. And, I think based off what I've heard from pretty much everyone who, is a kind of a regular to away games, there's going to be a big crowd of JMU fans in attendance. There were the last time we made our way up to Marshall. And if anybody's on the fence, I will tell you, make the trip, because we found, and I did not hear a single person say anything different than my experience, that their fans were incredibly welcoming. We had a great time with the Thundercast crew, who was incredibly generous with their hospitality, and it was just a good experience all around. What are you looking for in this game? And maybe what will you be keeping your eyes on early to see if this is a game that's going to be going into Duke's direction at the final buzzer?
Yeah, so I didn't get to go 2 years ago, so I'm super pumped to be there. Sounds like it's going to be a great crowd, but I'm excited to see exactly what Michael said. We need to hit them early and hit them often, because we can't let them get the momentum, get the excitement, and get all their hope back, because they're playing for their season. If they lose this game, making a bowl game is going to be very hard for them. So their season, it's on the line. They're going to be laying everything out. The playbook's going to be wide open. So what I want to see is defensively punch them in the mouth immediately, like we did against Texas State. We had a pick on the first drive, even though, like John said, Alonzo missed some throws on that first drive. On defense, we still got the pick on the first drive. And then on offense, I'd like us to be firing on all cylinders early, just like against ODU, just like against Texas State after the first drive. So I just want us to be clicking on all cylinders, just like the past 2 games at the very beginning of the game, because we can't wait for the second half, for the second quarter, for this to happen. We can't wait.
Yeah. And I think also too, after you talked about like starting early and starting fast, I think this is also like a maturation evolution game for offensive coordinator Dean Kennedy. And the reason why I say that is Marshall runs that 3-3-5 that's given us trouble over the years. Also the same 3-3-5 that ODU ran. And we saw that, hey, let's have Barnett, be involved in the run game. And he had a lot of zone reads. We had a lot of quarterback +1 run game. So I'd be curious, is Marshall obviously saw that. How does Dean Kennedy now combat that, right? Like what's the counter for it? Because they're going to be prepared for that quarterback rush game. Are we going to spit the ball outside some more? Are we going to do more play action over the top, similar to what we did with that diamond formation where we threw it to Josh Pfeiffer, breaking certain tendencies? I'd be really curious what we do, because the front 3 for Marshall are not only massive. You got Katron Evans, who's a 6'4", 336 nose tackle, former 4-star defensive tackle from Norfolk, a Virginia native, man in the middle. He's like their version of Manny Bush. You've got another guy, Jamal Weish, who's a Miami kid from South Carolina, another 320-pound player. And you got Paul Hudson from Norfolk, Virginia as well. So they love Virginia kids at Marshall. You've got 3 very active, large human beings up front. And you've got some really active and annoying defensive backs and linebackers on the back end. Don't let their record fool you. So I'd be really curious what Dean Kennedy does with, John, like you said, do we get Isaiah Alston in the pass game, just giving his height They're not that big on the back end. Do we get, a Mikey Scott out there in space, getting Wislowski back there in screens, right? Like we have so much depth that it's up to Dean Kennedy to put the pieces together, which I think he hopefully will. So I think that's a big thing to watch going into this game, and obviously the emotional piece. And then lastly, too, I think special teams wise, I think you look at what they did at ODU. They caused a lot of special teams havoc, and I think ODU made some fumbles on that side of the ball. How can we capitalize on that as well? I think that'll be a good thing to see with, I think our kicker's now, 4 for 6 on the year. We might need to rely on making sure we get points on the board once we get the ball down the field.
Awesome. And Afton, I wanted to give you a chance because it was kind of a crazy week in college football as well. Anything, I know as part of our kind of final thoughts for this episode, that you wanted to touch on in terms of the Group of 5 college football playoff landscape? I know you have your eyes attentive to a number of things that are happening. Our group chats are always fun on Saturdays. For those who can't see it, there's never a score that goes to 000 that Afton doesn't have some insight going back and forth with Taylor. It's always pretty fun.
Yeah, I know John's all been about the Sun Belt Championship, but I've had my eyes on the prize since week 0. The playoffs, they're in the picture, and you might see in my Group of 5 rankings, now that I had Tulane first, or my top 25, I had Tulane first in Group of 5, you might see JMU be maybe first in the Group of 5 in my rankings. But in the AP poll, we're 27th. That's second in the Group of 5 behind Memphis. We're ahead of San Diego State and North Texas, who also have votes. Personally, if North Texas wins out, I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me. A one-loss North Texas does not get in over a one-loss JMU. Their wins are pretty terrible.
Don't tell that to the North Texas people.
Yeah,
on
their
Twitter.
fans are crazy.
I learned this week that apparently North Texas has been a year in and year out powerhouse, apparently, according to their fan base. You don't see that reflected in their attendance.
Their fans are crazy, but they're never crazy in the game. Because when I was watching that game, it was pretty empty. But
man, I didn't know I missed them being a big time college football program with unprecedented success. That so much so where they have no problem looking down on us and acting like we are some, we
only got their best player from 2 years ago, Iowa Day.
We did.
But so in the Group of 5 race, you had UTSA Taylor's team just roll over Tulane. That was big. So now Tulane's probably out at this point. So if you're looking high depth into the playoff picture, as a JMU fan, your most realistic in is Tulane to win the conference championship in the American, I would say. That's probably the most realistic. And then if you want to go unrealistic, you want USF to lose to UTSA, you want Memphis to lose to Tulane, you want North Texas to lose another game, just all of them to just end with another loss. But if you're looking straight playoff picture, most realistic scenario, Tulane only has one more hard game on their schedule, and that's Friday night at Memphis. So if they can win that, they'll most likely be in the conference championship. So that's probably your way in. But it's been an interesting Group of 5 week. ODU won. They beat Monroe big. South Alabama almost had a big comeback against Louisiana. And then the Thursday night game, Marshall Coastal. Both teams kind of unimpressive, but kind of impressive maybe. I don't really know. It wasn't too impressive to me, especially Coastal's uniforms. Michael said it. Those uniforms
were just a non-serious program. I'm sorry.
Well, you guys can keep talking about the college football playoffs. I'm going to keep focusing on what we have not done already, which is win the Sun Belt Conference Championship, which, by the way, with ODU winning, they still have they have a legitimate chance to be a 10-win season for them, by the way, even though we blew them out, and they beat Virginia Tech early this year. And also the score we haven't talked about, Arkansas State beating Troy by, I think, 2 scores, if I saw that right. So it's pretty much a collision course between Marshall 2.0, aka Southern Miss and the Charlie Huffs, and potentially JMU for a conference championship game, which could be at Bridgeforth if we continue
revenge game as well.
Which, by the way, would be a Friday night game. So if you're
on ESPN,
again, on ESPN. Program camp, but if for scheduling purposes, might not be the worst idea to secure a hotel room if you're somebody who's going to be coming into town for the first Friday in December.
Yep,
just saying.
And after that is a revenge game since
absolutely
double overtime, double pass reverse,
and it's going to be an Alonzo revenge game too. That was his injury. And on top of all this, our only loss now, my Cards are now number 14 in the country, by the way.
I love the evolution of they are now officially.
They came back. It was looking a little sad there, Afton, for a little bit.
I know. Isaac Brown got hurt, but
episode 1, you were like, I have a slight affinity to. Now they are your Cards. You're all in.
Hey, I mean, I have a Louisville helmet to the right of me over here. I'm all out for the rest of the season. I'm all
Sean,
out.
I think we need to reassess the co-host here. We got a UTSA fan.
We got ODU. You and I are just bleeding purple all through.
ODU fan here too.
Since we're off topic, I do have a question for you guys.
Sure.
It's just looking far into the future, but I've been talking about this with my family. If we end up winning the Sun Belt Championship, do we rush the field?
No. Hard no. I don't.
No. First one.
It's the first one, but it's also been the expectation, right? Even when we weren't able to win the championship. Like,
I will answer and say, like, I don't
playoff spot.
I don't think we do it, but would I be mad if people did? No.
I think
because ultimately at the end of it, it's about having fun. Sports is supposed to be fun. And if people want to go on the field, have at it. But I don't think we do, would be my guess.
I also know that the drop 9 is pretty tall. So I'd probably you'd see a lot of people our age with messed up ankles and knees after that.
I've already had one big drop in my life, rushing the field after the 04 championship. I felt like I was the coyote in the old, Looney Tunes things jumping off the cliff. I was like, my legs kept moving and I was like, oh my God, this is way further than. So I don't know if I'll be jumping. I did get to rush the field in 08 too against App. That was fun. That's about, for me, the
Bridgeport looked a little different.
It did look a little different.
However, that's easy to get on the field.
Yeah, what it sounds like is if we rush the field, I'll be representing Sound Off on the field.
Oh no, we'll make our way. Michael might already be on the sidelines. You never know.
I'll find a way. You know me.
We will just not be in the first wave of rushing the field. So, but again, end of the day, go 1-0, get a win against Marshall, and then obviously, God, I'm already in the back of my mind this App State game, and if you like, it's the game that I said before the season.
If we take care of this weekend, imagine how ridiculous the atmosphere is going to be versus App State. Say we beat App State, then we've got the Marvel game versus Washington State, which Washington State right now is just like Marshall. Who are they? Are they a great team that they lost to Oregon State last week? Like, what are they? But at the end of the day, they're Washington State. They're P4. Like they're
we would be ranked.
We would be ranked. And if we beat them by more than 2 points, we've got a certain bragging right over another school over the mountain. That would be really interesting. And I think it's got to be kill, kill, kill mentality, right? It's like the Lonsbar said it. We gotta go out there. We have to get some style points. It is what it is. It's the world that we live in. And we just have to go out there and stomp on these programs' throats.
My last piece of speculation, though. I this is the first time I allowed myself to start thinking about a college football playoff world where somehow we play JMU West. I can't even imagine it. It's just.
I'll be there. Regardless.
But I can't even imagine that week of press conferences leading up. Everything.
ESPN would soak that up. Like,
oh my God, it would be everything. Yeah.
Could you imagine though? That would be crazy. Don't get me wrong.
But
if UVA wins out, they could be the 5 seed.
It could be.
We could have a college football playoff takeover in Scott Stadium.
I actually don't know what's more potentially insane. I mean, obviously you've got the on-field, everything that comes with a Signetti, versus former program. Then they would bring Bob Chesney into the discussion about the rumors in the world of college football coaching. That's crazy. But I agree with you. Just going over the mountain to Charlottesville.
Just going over the mountain, taking over Scott Stadium.
All I know is that StubHub,
right? If they lose another game, is there a chance for them to come Bridgeport? Probably not, right? Like that's out there.
But I'll say the SeatGeek StubHubs, I cannot even imagine what a ticket to a JMU UVA college football playoff game goes for.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Again, that's for another day. I want to know.
Speculation.
Guys, we're going to wrap today, though. Just another great show. First of all, just shout out to JMU Ice Hockey. Again, we're going to try to do our best to continue to put a little bit of a spotlight on more of the club teams. I know Taylor's got an interview coming up with the Bass Fishing Club at JMU, and there's so many of our club sports. I know lacrosse has massive success. The baseball teams, the soccer teams, the swimming and diving, everything. There's just so much positive things happening around JMU and the college athletic sphere that's not just on the main page of the D1 team. So if you ever get a chance, you're looking for something to do, go give some support to some of the club teams. I know they appreciate it, but just many, many different ways you can continue to grow this brand. But shout out to our sponsors, Skyline Financial Partners, Champions Drive Bourbon, Where's Woody, Purple Nation, Shoker Enterprises, the Dead Meat Society, Outdoor Kitchen Creations, and Valley Road Vineyards. And with that, we will see you next Sunday after Dukes play Marshall on the road for another episode of JMU Sound Off. And as always, go Dukes.